me a great joy to once again have time with Dr. Ora Horn-Krauser as she will explain to us this beautiful cutting-edge program, Etzba Elohim. Welcome, Ora.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm really happy to be here, Elizabeth. So let me explain what this program is, because it's been a real joy for AJR and to be a part of it. The program is a joint program in collaboration with the Jewish Deaf Resource Center. And the idea of the program was to provide a place for certified deaf interpreters, ASL interpreters, and deaf lay leaders to really learn the depth of liturgy and to understand how our congregational services work, to understand what the liturgy means, so that when they then go into synagogues and interpret for the deaf community, they have the richness of the text behind them and in them, so they know how to interpret in a way that really passes that on to the deaf community. And so importantly, the deaf community was a total partner in every piece of creating this class. And it's important that it's not that the hearing community has created this for the deaf community, but rather that we have had a collaboration between the hearing community and the deaf community. And I think that sends a message also that it's very important that the deaf community is very involved in creating for themselves.
Thank you, Dr. Ora Horn-Krauser. It's always amazing to spend time with you. So stick with us, and once again, welcome to Sacred Space. It is a great honor for me to share some time with Roxanne Baker and Stacy Blumenfeld, who are both in the AJR Etzba Elohim program. So Roxanne, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, it's so nice to be here, and thank you for having us here. We're here to share our experiences. As you said, my name is Roxanne Baker. I'm from Maine. I've been studying at the Academy for Jewish Religion for approximately a year and a half. I have learned so much. My name is Stacy Blumenfeld. I live in Florida on the West Coast. I joined this class. I've been involved in the last 6 months, and it's been such an enjoyment for me and a great journey and a very rich experience.
If you both would briefly describe what it was like for you as a Jewish deaf person, not having full access to Jewish prayers. What was it like for you to grow up without access?
Growing up, I felt like a wandering Jew. I was the only Jewish deaf student at a school for the deaf in Maine. I didn't feel that I had a Jewish identity. The school that I went to, I was the only Jewish person. At the age of 8 or 9, I had to attend Sunday school. The supervisor taught religious school and forced me to go on a weekly basis. I learned religious signs, and my parents were unaware. Both of them are Jewish. They were unaware that I was attending a religious class for a different religion. They would learn Christmas songs, Holy Night, Silent Night. And when they found out, They were extremely upset. They pulled me out of that class. It was on Wednesdays, maybe it was Tuesdays. And I would go home that night instead of attending class. They took me to synagogue, and the first time I went, I was at a loss. I did not have an interpreter. There was no one there signing. I rebelled. I did not want to go. And my parents coaxed me. When I was at the school for the deaf, the teacher, who was deaf, signed all the information, so I had access to the information in that religious class.
Stacy, would you share a little bit about your experience growing up?
Of course. I grew up going to a spoken English school. And I didn't know how to sign until I was 18. My parents, on both sides of their families, were Jewish. And so I was exposed to Judaism. I was exposed to the holidays and celebrating the holidays and going to religious school, Hebrew school. I completed my bat mitzvah, my confirmation. I was involved in a Jewish youth group, including going to regional and national camps. Did I have access? Not at all. So you can imagine what that was like. At first, I went along with it and made the best out of the experience. I never truly understood what was happening until recently, this year. If I had to go back to my inner child and analyze the feelings, they would be of loneliness and isolation and feeling lost. I felt I always had to fit into other groups. Can you imagine trying to read the lips of all the other people all day long? It's mentally exhausting. Not just physically, but mentally exhausting. And that's what happens when you don't have access growing up.
I'm thankful that you're sharing this so candidly with me and with our audience. It's a message that needs to be shared and needs to be heard. It's beautiful. Such a gift. The program is a gift, and you're a gift to the program, because it seems that it works together, you know, like a beautiful tapestry. The success of the program based on what you bring to it.
I like that. A tapestry. It's a bridge between deaf and hearing Jewish people for the community to get together. Amen. Amen.
Thank you so much for enlightening me, for sharing your beautiful stories about this incredible journey. And I hope to meet you in person in the future.
Yes, likewise. For me too. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And now we have with us EJ Cohen, who is also a student and interpreter through AJR's ESPA Elohim program. Welcome, EJ. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello. Thank you for inviting me. My name is EJ Cohen. I live in Concord, New Hampshire. I've been working as an interpreter for over 40 years and as a Jewish instructor since I'm 13.
Incredible. So EJ, can you explain how this course has been transformative for you?
This class turned everything upside down for me. Sharing the class with Rabbi Rob and members of the deaf Jewish community and seasoned interpreters has been eye-opening. Their knowledge and their experience I have taken in, and it has expanded what I know. It's not food for thought. It's more like a buffet for thought. A feast for the eyes. Now, I look at and analyze the prayers differently. I compare this to learning an English class and the information, the diagram of English, where we have to look at the point and then expand on it. And that's how I feel now when I'm interpreting the prayer.
Very profound and moving, and your ability to express comes through so clearly. How has the partnership with deaf lay leaders and mentors helped you in this process?
In the past, I would interpret the prayers, translate them from Hebrew into ASL. I would ask my deaf Jewish friends for feedback. What does this look like? What does this mean to you? And they would offer information so I can improve. But their knowledge about the prayers is not the same as what I am learning in this class. It's not the same experience. Having a deaf mentor has been a valuable experience. What a prayer means for me, or has meant for me, is much different. I can interpret this now because of what I have learned. I've received the feedback and I've incorporated that so I can express it differently. This partnership with the deaf community has been fabulous. Any interpreter who wants to work in the Jewish community should absolutely take this class.
Amazing, thank you. It is inspiring to watch the emotion of how deeply it's affected you, and very moving for me to know, because I'm always striving for better, greater knowledge and constantly evolving. And so it moves me to also hear of another journey in a similar way, even though this is a very different journey from my own. Thank you, EJ. We now welcome Rabbi Rob Scheinberg to the interview. It's so lovely to have you here. Tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got involved in this program.
Sure. Well, I am a congregational rabbi in Hoboken, New Jersey. I also have taught liturgy at AJR for just about 20 years, teaching cantorial and rabbinical students. I've taught liturgy in other contexts also. I've worked on the prayer books for conservative Judaism, the Lev Shalem prayer book series. And I'm also now serving as the rabbi in residence at AJR, in addition to my congregational duties in New Jersey. And so Dr. Oren Prauser asked me, we're looking for somebody who has expertise in liturgy to teach this new exciting class that we're doing in conjunction with the JDRC. I had virtually no experience with ASL or with working with the deaf community, and I was just so happy to be part of this project and just find it to be so enriching. I learned so much from this experience, so much about the deaf community, so much about ASL, and also so much about how important it is to make sure that everyone has access to Jewish tradition and Jewish prayer and ritual. And those are what has brought me to be teaching the class, and I'm just finding it to be such a personally valuable experience for me, and just so grateful for the opportunity.
What have you gained from your relationship with both Naomi and Susan of JDRC in developing this curriculum and teaching this course?
It is so clear that this course has been successful, in part because deaf leaders have been part of the process to design and implement the course every step of the way. And it's clear that AJR could not possibly do a class like this on its own, obviously, and to work with the leaders of JDRC has also been so enriching to me. I benefited so much from the guidance of Naomi as the person who first envisioned this course many years ago, and from Susan as the president of JDRC. Both have so guided in deciding how the course should be structured, how much time we should spend on background issues, and how much time to spend delving into the text itself, and how we can best meet the needs of this diverse group that has registered for the course.
I love that the course has been designed and led by the deaf community, by leaders in the deaf community. I think that it is impossible if you are a hearing person to really understand any of what that experience is like. As hard as one might try to understand, until you're in that position, it's really impossible. We strive to be sensitive, but truly could never fully grasp what that's like. So the idea that this was such a partnership is so beautiful to me. So thank you for what you're doing, and kol hakavod to you for taking on this very meaningful endeavor. And I'm sure, as well as the students who bring so much to the class, I'm sure also bring so much of your own spirit and inspiration. So thank you.
Thanks very much.
It is now my great honor to have some time with the president of the JDRC, Susan Cohen. Welcome, Susan. Thank you so much for being here and for partnering in creating this program.
It's an honor to talk with you.
What is Jewish Deaf Resource Center's role in this course partnership?
We work with two groups: the Jewish deaf and hard of hearing community and their families, as well as individuals in organizations and the Jewish community. We work with them for communication access and Jewish learning. This partnership is our responsibility And the responsibilities we have are advising individuals at the Academy of Jewish Religion on developing the course that matches the needs of the student. We're responsible for advising interpreters, hearing interpreters, certified deaf interpreters, CDIs, and deaf shlichei tzibor. We instruct hearing professors on designing an online class environment for the deaf students to have access to. We give hearing ASL interpreters the opportunity to partner with deaf leaders. The reason we do this is to create an interpretation model that provides a rich and visual Jewish experience for the deaf community.
Thank you. Beautiful explanation. Why is the deaf partnership so vital to the development of this course? And what are the benefits of this deaf hearing partnership?
That's a good question. JDRC follows the bicultural, bilingual model, which means that both deaf and hearing persons have equal access to information. So for example, I am the deaf president of JDRC. Dr. Aura Krauser is the dean of AJR. And Naomi Brunn-Lehrman is the executive director of JDRC. The three of us have an equal voice in the decision-making. In that process, we can discuss and analyze and compromise and agree on the details to develop the structure for this course. Together, the three of us guide professors, whoever's teaching this course. We collect input from deaf mentors. And the reason we do this is so that we can provide the class a better opportunity, a better experience. The deaf mentors have trained hearing ASL interpreters in legal and medical and theatrical interpreting in the past years. So we thought, why not Jewish liturgy? It's the same model that we use in this course. And that's what makes this course unique in the Jewish world. ASL is a living, breathing, evolving, beautiful visual language that belongs to the deaf community. And with respect to the language, we understand it belongs to the deaf community. And that's why ASL interpreters are learning from the deaf mentors. And it's the best way to bring out that interpretation so that the deaf congregants have access to that information, to Judaism, and to a meaningful and in a meaningful and visual way.
It's an honor, and thank you so much for being with us. Hope to meet you soon as well.
Oh, yes. That would be a great pleasure to meet you in person, not just online. Thanks again.
I am now so honored to have Naomi Brunn-Lehrman with me as she shares a little bit about herself and tells us the history of the JDRC.
So as you said, my name is Naomi. This is my sign name. Brunn-Lehrman is my last name. 26 years ago, in 1996, with a deaf friend of mine, we created JDRC. Several years later, I met Dr. Aura Prowser. We started talking about interpretation, the Jewish world, what the challenges were, and we started to dream about this class. Throughout the years, we kept in touch, trying to figure out how this would happen, when it would happen. Could interpreters fly to New York for a week-long intensive study with the cantor? What would that look like? Who would pay for that? And then COVID hit. And the deaf community had more work online. Their temple started online. They started their own online temple. They did it once a month on a Friday night. They had, and still do to this day, have deaf leaders where they would perform their own Friday night service. So questions came to JDRC. What do these prayers mean? What's the interpretation? Do you have any ideas of how we would convey this in ASL? So I met Susan and I said, I've had this dream. And now we have deaf people who want to study Jewish liturgy and understand the meaning of the prayers. We could do this in a course where deaf and hearing people study this together and see how deaf people sign the prayers. They can watch it in ASL. And that's how this course happened. I've been involved in the Jewish deaf community and have always wanted to see deaf people have access the same way I have access. Why should I have an opportunity to access Jewish liturgy more than a deaf person? It didn't make sense to me. So it's nice that we finally can study together in an academic environment with a rabbi who is sensitive and flexible and very willing. The deaf community are now equal partners, which is so important.
I love that this is a language that evolves, that the partnership in the program at HAR is propelling the evolution of the language and the exploration of liturgy using ASL. I love that in the true spirit of Judaism, that the word, Yisrael, to wrestle with God and wrestle and question. And in so many ways, it sounds like this class embodies the whole package of what Judaism asks of us. And so I can't wait to see more about this program. And I want to thank you again for all that you're doing and for being with us today to share your experience and share the program with the world.
Yes, and a big thank you to AJR and a bigger thank you to the deaf community.
So nice to have this time with you.
I feel the same way.
If you enjoyed today's program and you're interested in finding out more, go to ajr.edu for more information.
Thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to seeing you next time on Sacred Space, when we'll explore AJR's special new project, Mosaic Religion and the Religious Mosaic, an approach to the Jewish community for Christian seminarians. See you then.
I'm Elizabeth Sternlieb, and this is Sacred Space.